Hey everyone, we are here today in Havana, Cuba. We've spent several days exploring Old Havana, and today we want to share with you some of our favorite sites and what we think would make a great walking tour. So the first thing you should know is Old Havana, or La Habana Vieja, is a beautiful part of the city. There are a ton of things to do in this neighborhood. Lots of museums, shops, squares, restaurants. It's very European feeling, it's very historic, and it can be a little overwhelming in terms of just how much there is to see and do.
Absolutely, and our walking tour obviously doesn't encapsulate everything, but it'll give you a nice snapshot of what Old Havana is all about.
Exactly.
And it's centered around 4 of the 5 main squares that make up Habana Vieja. Start your walking tour at the Plaza del CRISTO. It's an amazing little plaza, lots of people there, locals, tourists. There's a Wi-Fi zone there, so there'll be a lot of people just sitting around enjoying the sun and the internet. But there's some great bars there as well.
Yeah, we think it's probably going to be one of the next big plazas, next hit places to go. There's a ton of different places that are clearly up and coming and very popular. And if it's morning and you're looking to eat something, then Cafe El Dandy is a great place for breakfast.
If you happen to be in the plaza in the evening, make sure you do pop into El Dandy because they have the best mojito we've had in Cuba. Okay, now you want to start making your way to Plaza Vieja.
We don't have a particular recommendation for which street or calle to take to get to Plaza Vieja. They're all beautiful and they all have amazing things to see. You'll know Plaza Vieja when you get there because the square is surrounded by very stately, beautiful buildings. It's a wonderful taste of some of the architecture here in Havana, and it's surrounded by a lot of cafes and different restaurants and cool places to check out.
If you've ever been to a European capital and some of their piazzas and plazas, this will remind you of that. It's totally beautiful. If you're gonna hit one plaza, this is the one to hit. Okay, once you're done at Plaza Vieja, it's time to move towards Plaza de Armas. The best route to take to Plaza de Armas, in our opinion, is to go up Mercaderes. That strip is filled with restaurants and boutique shops, beautiful little mini parks, parques. I really enjoyed that walk. There's a lot of tourists, but it was still super enjoyable. You'll find yourself at Obispo, which is a main tourist drag that runs east-west through Habana Vieja. And right on the corner there's Hotel Ambos Mundos. We recommend that you pop in there into the lobby and take the old elevator up to the terrace. Grab yourself a drink and take a look at the amazing view. Not only do you see Habana Vieja from above, but you can see across the bay to Casablanca.
Around the corner from Ambos Mundos is Plaza de Armas. The plaza is beautiful. It's got a lot of lovely green space, some beautiful large trees, has a really cool sort of breezy feel there, and it's right next to Museo de la Ciudad. Make your way from Plaza de Armas to Plaza de la CATEDRAL, which is anchored by the Catedral de la Habana. It's a beautiful church. We weren't able to go inside because it was closed while we were here, but just seeing it from outside is completely worth the trip.
Yeah. We recommend leaving the plaza by Empedrado. The first thing you'll notice is a huge crowd of tourists
at
Bodeguita del Medio. Everybody's there because they all want a Hemingway mojito. Now, we did not stop in there because we found mojitos all over Havana and we didn't feel like the wait was going to be worth the drink. So if we're wrong, let us know, but we felt pretty comfortable skipping that huge lineup of tourists. Yes. Keep moving your way along Empedrado until you get to Parque de San Juan de Dios. Then you make a right up Aguiar because you're looking for the best ice cream in Havana. you're not in the mood for ice cream, maybe you're looking for a more substantial meal, we have a couple of recommendations for you. The first is the 304 O'Reilly and El Del Frente, which is right across the street. They're both owned by the same people, we believe. As a second option, we'd recommend going up into the quieter area of Habana Vieja, which is just north of the ice cream shop. We found a bunch of restaurants in there and shops that just looked amazing. We wish we'd had more time to explore.
Once you've finished exploring that part of town, we recommend making your way to Museo de la Revolución. It's the former presidential palace, and it now houses an exhibit that is dedicated to the revolution. It tells the story, it tells the history, it explains the cast of characters involved in all of the action, and it's set in this beautiful building that has a lot of historical significance on its own. In behind the museum is the Grandma Yacht Memorial, which is a really cool part of everything that you get to check out there.
What I found really cool about it was the bullet holes in the palace itself. Clearly there was a gunfight there. I think there was an unsuccessful attempt to assassinate Presidente Bautista in 1957, I believe. The history feels alive there. Once you're done with the museo, it's pretty late in the day probably, and guess what? You're only a few steps from the MALECÓN.
It's a wonderful place to check out any time of day, but if you're there in the late afternoon or evening, it is particularly stunning. Since you're on the MALECÓN, it's an excellent opportunity to visit NAZDAROVIE. NAZDAROVIE is a Soviet restaurant which is completely unique. If you're there early in the evening, it's perfect because hopefully you'll be able to grab a table on the balcony and eat overlooking the MALECÓN and the Caribbean Sea.
I've never been in a restaurant like that in my life. I would put it probably in the top 5 restaurants I've ever been to. The food was outstanding. The cocktails were amazing. We had a green Russian. I can't recommend those enough. That
was probably, aside from a great mojito, my favorite cocktail of this trip.
Here's a great way to finish up your walking tour. Head over to the Prado, which is a beautiful grand boulevard in a European style. Walk down towards the Capitolio. You'll end up at a group of hotels in the Gran Teatro and the Capitolio in the background. Head to the Hotel Inglaterra and make your way up to the roof to enjoy a nightcap and a stunning view of the city.
We had an amazing experience there, just enjoying cocktails, dancing, taking in the live music. It was the perfect cap to our evening and the day.
Well, that's it for our walking tour of La Habana Vieja. We hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up.
And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the notification button.